In order for me to do work like this, I need an AAL, an Animal Activities Licence. Well, I had an inspection in March here on my premises and I failed. Well, that's not strictly true. It was more licence pending after maybe a few small changes have been made, and then they're able to give me the full 3-year licence. Well, the history is that it took them some time to sort their inspectors out, and I only very recently had the second inspection to get it all finalised with a different inspector and finally have my licence. In fact, here's my licence number. So yes, I'm fully fit to now go out with that certificate. All is good. After emailing and calling the council over and over again, a bit like talking to a brick wall. But for a bit of fun, I thought I'd tell you the reasons why I wasn't able to complete the licence the first time, and we'll see if you agree whether it's actually sensible reasons or not. The first reason was this screen in between here. There's a mesh in between, and we had a bamboo sheet across there which the inspector didn't like because it might break and hurt one of the birds on either side of it. Bit curious though, because that bamboo screen was there 3 years ago when they last inspected, and they didn't have a problem with it then. This here is the corn snake vivarium. We had to move them into a bigger enclosure because the one we had wasn't quite big enough. Apparently it wasn't long enough by a whopping 4 centimetres. However, the width was okay because I was already 18 centimetres bigger than the minimum requirement. So technically, I was allowed to have a smaller enclosure for the snake, just that the dimensions were slightly wrong. There's a lot of paperwork involved with this licence, and here we have, in alphabetical order, our training record for the staff. So if I go into it, for example, and pick out a random page, you can see we have a training record here, which people sign, Part A, Part B, Part C. It's really well documented, it's very well organised, it's very professional, but she couldn't tick it off because it was missing one point that would say that they understand the requirements of the licence. This one I will give her though. To be fair, the freezer did need defrosting. There was quite a lot of frost building up around the edges, and she said that wasn't great for the control of the temperature of your frozen food, like your rats and your cockle chicks, etc. Not that they were actually getting soft, they were frozen solid. Oh, by the way, these are just for human consumption, not for the birds. The top of this door wasn't hung perfectly. There was about ½ centimetre more down at this end than the other end. Not that the bird would be able to get out of that tiny gap there. So I rehung the door and now all is well. But the biggest issue was with enclosures with perches that birds of prey like the hawk here, this is Maverick, were tethered to. We have before, 3 years ago, had birds of prey tethered that then fly free on a regular basis. It's a way that it's practised largely in bird of prey centres and with businesses like myself and even amateur falconers who have hunting birds. The problem wasn't whether they had to be free-lofted or not. The issue we had is she didn't know. Under Part 7, under monitoring behaviour, there was a section there that said that the birds must not be permanently tethered. Well, what do they mean by permanently tethered? I asked her this, and she didn't know what the answer was. Permanently tethered would mean tethering the bird on a perch and not untethering it until it's dead. Our birds fly free on a regular basis, so they're certainly not, in my eyes, permanently tethered. However, in the meantime, we instead changed this mews into an aviary for our raptors, which so far is going perfectly well, and therefore they are actually free-lofted. And if you want to know more about why falconers tether birds of prey, it's worth watching the video I did a few weeks ago entitled "Could Tethering Birds of Prey Become Illegal in the UK?" Some changes may be afoot. So to conclude, we've got our licence. When they came round again, they checked all the paperwork, very happy with that. Checked all the changes, very happy with that. And there was no issue whatsoever. Do you think those things we had to fix would have made any real difference to the welfare of the birds of prey? Maybe a little bit, but not to any great degree. Anyway, as I say, bit of clickbait there. We didn't really fail the inspection. However, it is a very, very comprehensive inspection, and people can rest assured that we are inspected thoroughly. I don't necessarily agree with all of the elements of the licence. Most falconers and people who work with animals don't as well. However, at least there is now a licence. It's quite a new thing, only came around about 4 years ago, and at least now we've got something that's more than just a piece of paper. When I first started doing this work, we didn't get inspected whatsoever at all. The inspection is about the sizes of the enclosure, the materials used, that they're in good quality, that the bird has everything it needs, that it has a good varied diet, that it has enrichment. They check our records to show where we've been with the birds, how much they fly. In fact, we have so much paperwork that if we weren't to do most of it digitally, we'd be using about a stack of white A4 paper that you'd get from the shop, maybe 200 pages. We'll probably use one of those a week. And that's a lot of trees wasted for a lot of paperwork, which in all honesty, the inspectors don't look at most of. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's just a bit of fun for a Friday afternoon. Hope you're enjoying the summer. July is around the corner. Quick, get your diaries. It's going to be a busy one. Thanks for watching.